Okay, folks, so I want to read another chapter here from The Last President, published September 28, 1896. And I'll put a link in the description for this ebook. And we left off here with chapter 9. And it says, when the last embers of the great conflagration of the rebellion had been smothered out with tears for the lost cause, a prophecy had gone up that the mighty North, rich with 100 great cities and strong in the conscious power of its wide empire, would be the next to raise the standard of rebellion against the federal government. But that prophet was without honor in his own land, and none had paid heed to his seemingly wild words. Yet now, this same mighty North sat there in her grief and anxiety, with her face turned southward and her ear strained to catch the whispers that were in the air. Had not the scepter of power passed from her hand forever? Was not the revolution complete? Were not the populace and their allies firmly seated in the halls of Congress? Had not the Supreme Court been rendered powerless for good by packing it with the most uncompromising adherents of the new political faith? Had not the very nature of the federal government undergone a change? Was not paternalism rampant? Was not socialism on the increase? Were there not everywhere evidences of an intense hatred of the North and a firm determination to throw the whole burden of taxation upon the shoulders of the rich man, in order that the surplus revenues of the government might be distributed among those who constitute the common people? How could this section of the Union ever hope to make head against the South, united, as it now was, with the rapidly growing states of the Northwest? Could the magnificent cities of the North content themselves to march at the tail of Tillman's and Pepper's chariots? Had not the South a firm hold of the Senate? Where was there a ray of hope that the North could ever again regain its lost power, and could it for a single moment think of entrusting its vast interests to the hands of a people differing with them on every important question of statecraft, pledged to a policy that could not be otherwise than ruinous to the welfare of the grand commonwealths of the middle and eastern sections of the Union and their sister states this side of the Mississippi? A lot of question marks. It were madness to think of it. The plunge must be taken. The declaration must be made. There was no other alternative, save abject submission to the chieftains of the new dispensation, and the complete transformation of that vast social and political system vaguely called the North. But this revolution within a revolution would be a bloodless one, for there could be no thought of coercion, no serious notion of checking such a mighty movement. It would be in reality the true republic purging itself of a dangerous malady, sloughing off a diseased and gangrened member, no more, no less. Already this mighty movement of withdrawals from the Witenagemote of, I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty with that word. Witenagemote of the Union was in the air. Okay, I'm gonna have to look up that word. People spoke of it in a whisper or with bated breath. But as they turned it over and over in their minds, it took on shape and form and force, till at last it burst into life and action like Minerva from Jupiter's brain, full-fledged, full-armed, full-voiced, and full-hearted. Really, why would it not be all for the best that this mighty empire, rapidly growing so fast and unwieldy, as to be only with the greatest difficulty governable from a single center, should be split into three parts, eastern, southern, and western, now that it may be done without dangerous jar or friction? The three republics could be federated for purposes offensive and defensive, and until these great and radical changes could be brought about, there would be no great difficulty in devising living terms, for immediately upon the declaration of dissolution, each state would become repossessed of the sovereign powers which it had delegated to the federal government. Meanwhile, the fateful year '99 went onward toward its close. The whole land seemed stricken with paralysis, so far as the various industries were concerned. But, as it is wont to be in such times, man, I'm having a hard time reading this right now. Sorry. Let me try that. The whole land seemed stricken with paralysis, so far as the various industries were concerned. But, as it is wont to be in such times, men's minds were supernaturally active. The days were passed in the reading of public prints, or in passing in review the weighty events of the hour. The North was only waiting for an opportunity to act. But the question that perplexed the wisest heads was, how and when shall the declaration of dissolution be made, and how soon thereafter shall the North and the states in sympathy with her withdraw from the Union, and declare to the world their intention to set up a republic of their own, with the mighty metropolis of New York as its social, political, and commercial center and capital? As it came to pass, the North had not long to wait. The 56th Congress, soon to convene in regular session in the city of Washington, was even more populistic and socialistic than its famous predecessor, which had wrought such wonderful changes in the law of the land, showing no respect for precedent, no reverence for the old order of things. Hence all eyes were fixed upon the capital of the nation. All roads were untrodden, save those which led to Washington. Interesting. Okay, hang on. I am gonna look at that. I have no idea. Copy. Let's learn something together here. Let's see. Witenagemote. 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 An Anglo-Saxon council made up of a varying number of nobles, prelates, and influential officials, and convened from time to time to advise the king on administrative and judicial matters. Well, now that makes sense. It would be in reality the true republic purging itself of a dangerous malady, sloughing off disease and gangrene member, no more, no less. Already this mighty movement of withdrawals from the Witenagemote of the Union was in the air. Oh well, we learned something new today. How do I pronounce that again? Witenagemote. 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 Okay. Anyway, well, I guess I'll do chapter 10 another time. I think there's only 2 more chapters, so almost finished with it.